just not? Hello. Be right back. Okay, Maggie knocked off my cross. Put it back on. There we go. Alright. How was everybody today? Hope you are doing good. I wanted to introduce my sweet little Maggie for those that don't know her. She's got a little hairdo issues going on. She needs to have a trip to Miss Amy soon. So, hope you're doing good. But today we're going to talk about why do you need an editor. I had a discussion in a group recently about this, and it was interesting, the conversation that went on, because there's some things I realized I didn't think people thought about or were scared about having an editor. Because it's been a while since I was new to editing. I've been editing for years and used editors, so that's been an interesting thing. But hello, whoever's there, say hello. But no one writes the perfect manuscript, you know. And I want you to know, editors are your friends, not your enemy. They're here to help you. But what do editors really do? And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Oh, we got a comment. Let's see who's here. Hi, Adnan, I guess is how you say your name. Hope you are doing good. Appreciate you being here and hope this helps you. So, but what I was getting at is that hey Tammy, the editors help you because they're objective detectives, is what I call them. They help you with your writing to make it clearer, stronger, and even more. You say your name, Adnan? I guess it's Adnan. I hope I got that right. But thank you for being here, Adnan. And you want the editor to help you because an editor will help make your manuscript better. Stephen King, the John Grisham, Tom Clancy when he was alive, and many others, any writer that you can think about that you like to read, you know, J.K. Rowling, all of them have editors, and for a reason, because we can't see our own work objectively. And that's what we're here to help you do. And if you're wondering what's the difference between an editor and a coach, because I'm a writing coach and an editor, and I help people work on the writing process as well as editing their work. So I show them, I teach all my clients a writing plan. Then I teach them, help hold them accountable to everything. And so I want you to know that editors are here to help you. And one of the questions that this gentleman that was concerned about editing said was, he's like, will they change my voice? You know, the voice of the content. And a good editor will not do that. Hi, Elena. Hope you're doing good. Thanks for popping in. But if a good editor will not change the voice of your manuscript, you do not want that. A good editor is going to make it even better. And that's what you're looking for. And you can always ask for a sample edit before you work with an editor. If you've never worked with an editor before, you can always ask for a sample edit. And usually they'll do like 3 to 5 pages, just a double space, just to see. And that gets you a feel for how they edit. And they get a feel for how much work it's going to be. And some editors will actually request that if they've never worked with you before either, before they quote you a price because of that, because some editing takes more work than others. So that is a good thing to keep in mind. And here's another thing, a lot of that some people ask, you know, well, what if I don't like the edits? If there's something that you don't like, first I want you to do something. I want you to make sure that you're not being defensive and holding on to your darlings, as Anne Lamott likes to say. Sometimes we have to cut our darlings, and our darlings are those words that we love. We've created this content and it's our baby, and we don't want to let go. We don't want to change it because we think it's perfect the way it is. But sometimes you got to think about from the reader's viewpoint. Is it the best for your reader to have it that way? And that is very important to keep in mind, that you want what's best for your reader. And you want to also look at those edits and then you may have to take a break from them. If you look at them and you get defensive and you're not really sure, then take a break from them. Because sometimes your editor's correct. You've just got to get in a good place to accept the edits. And sometimes maybe it's not the best. It doesn't really say what you want it to say, or it's not how you talk. And so it is losing your voice there for a minute, you know. So you want to make sure the edits sound like you, and they're conveying the message you want to convey in a way that your readers will want to read it, and they'll want to keep turning the page. That's the whole point of having an editor, is cleaning up the manuscript so that your readers will want to continue changing the page and reading the next page. So there's 3 types of editing, the common types. But here's the thing. There are no standards on what's called what. So some editors call the same thing a different word. So you have to ask the editor for clarification if you're not sure. Okay, what does that mean to you? What kind of editing is that for you? But the big thing, first one is copy editing, or also known as proof editing, is your basic grammar, sentence structure, punctuation, clean up the manuscript. Simple editing. And sometimes that's anywhere from 3 cents a word to 5 cents a word. Depends on the editor, their experience, and how much that you're willing to pay for that. Then the other kind of editing is developmental editing, or comprehensive editing. I like to call it developmental editing, but it's editing line by line, and your content flow and your copy editing all is in there. So I go through and I make sure that what my client said that they wanted in their writing plan is in their writing. So we have like a focus, and we have points we want to make, and I make sure they make all their points and they keep their focus. Then I go in and I make sure that it flows well. And like one of my clients, she had written this devotional, and at the top she had one story, and at the bottom she had another story, like 2 or 3 paragraphs. But it didn't make sense how they went together. I kind of saw where she was going with it because I was familiar with the stories, but I wasn't totally sure, and I said there needs to be a better transition here. And that one little tweak helped it, and it helped to also come back at the end of the last story and show how the one story is related to the other too, and make her conclude her point that she was trying to make in a much better way, clearer way, so it's better for the reader. And then the last kind of editing is called the printer's proof editing. Once you've written the book, all the edits are done. If you're self-publishing, this is something you'll want to do on your own. If you have a traditional editor, publisher, they will do this. They'll have a printer's copy, a printer's proof. They'll want you to do this, and they'll have you go looking through it. So if you're here, say hello. Thank you for stopping by. And like saying I'm fixing to go to town should actually say I'm about to go to town. Well, that depends on what you're writing, Elaine. Elena, if it's a story that's how they talk, then you want to say it that way. Or if that's how you normally say something, that might be a good way to put it if you're trying to put some humor in your story. So it does depend on the story and what you're trying to do. But a printer's proof is just a final copy of your book. And you get it, and you're going to review it, or you have your editor review it, which I highly recommend, because if they've already been through the book, then they're going to know, yeah, this is right, and they'll know what to look for to make sure everything's set up right. But let me tell you about my mess-ups that I did. First of all, the funniest mess-up is I turned in my print proof or copy to the print-on-demand company before I uploaded the ebook to Amazon. And when I loaded up the ebook to Amazon, it said I had one typo. And the one typo was on the title page. This is not one that was messed up. Whoops. So I had put, I need God daily downloads for your heart. I misspelled downloads, and so it said daily downloads for your heart. So the first 50 books, the people who hopefully didn't notice, their title page was not correct. But then the other thing that I did wrong was there was a link at the end of each chapter where they can go watch a video. And I forgot to put the .com in the printed version. On the ebook version, it was a hyperlink, so it took them to the right place. But in the printed version, unless they figured out the .com was missing, it was written incorrectly. And that's something an editor would have picked. I did not do a printer's proof the first go around, and I learned a lot. So then I also was going back like months after I had printed this. I realized I was studying it to teach it. And I realized in the book I had messed up the formatting. I had changed from, there's 5 daily devotions and an introduction. And so I had it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I realized as I was writing it, somebody might not start on Monday. They might start on Tuesday reading it. And that's going to be really confusing if they're reading Monday on Tuesday or whatever and trying to keep up. So I went day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. Well, I did all of that, except in some of the chapters, I screwed up and I kept the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for like 2 or 3 chapters. In the middle, I messed up. So, oops, big oops. So things like that are why you need a printer's proof and why you need someone else to look at it who is familiar with it that can help pick it up. But then you might want to have a friend look at it that's really good, or someone who is in the kind of person that would read your book, that would be interested in your book, and they might pick up on those kind of things. But definitely an editor could help you with that. So most editors use track changes now. And so if you've never worked with an editor, this is what you'll typically get from them. In which, hold on, I've got to, I changed some things. Okay. So now I want to share with you, this is what track changes look like. And all it is, so here's the text. In the black is what you've written. In the green is what I put for, like if I was making corrections and I type it out, it types out in green. So what I say turns green. So then you know what I've added. And here was a mistake, so it's X'd out. So if there was a word that's like either the wrong word or it's misspelled, you might see something like this. Or if you didn't need it there, or I go like this and change it to, whatever, if that's supposed to be 4, then you can change it like that. So you see how it's making the edits there. So then when you get this back, you will see all the words that are changed and things that were added. And this is Pages for a Mac. And if you're in Word, it does a similar thing. Sorry, I don't have Word on here, so I don't know. But I know because I send this in Word to people. Then you have the different ways you can view it. This is the markup version. Then you can have the markup without deletion, so you can see where just the typing of the words, but it shows the little marks where I took stuff out. Or final, where it looks like, when it's ready to be printed out. So that's what the different views you have with track changes. So that's what track changes are. And you can leave little notes like, this is not how you spell this. So your editor can leave little notes for you in there like, hey, you might want to reword this, or this is passive voice. Look to make it an active voice. So I hope this helps you, and if you have any questions, please feel free to put in the comments and I'll respond there. Also, if you want to know a little more about editing like this, on my podcast 106, the link is in this post, the text on this post. You can check that out there and learn more about the editing process and what to look for. And there's an after the draft checklist. So there's a little checklist for you to go through after you're finished your writing and how you can edit. And remember, editing and writing are 2 different things. So you want to make sure that you are not editing when you're writing. Writing is a creative activity and uses a different side of the brain. Editing is a analytical activity, and you want to make sure that you are editing after you write. You go back, there's an editing process. Usually I go through mine 2 or 3 times with edits because I'm looking for different things at different times, and sometimes more, because if you're looking for formatting and things, at first I'm looking for content flow and grammar and all of that, but then I start looking and make sure the formatting's correct. And so it could be, 4, 5, 6 times. Sometimes I go through stuff that to make sure it's saying what I want it to say, that it's clear, and that it's set up the way it needs to be set up. So hope that helps everyone. Thank you for stopping by, and hope you're having a good evening. And I will talk with you later. Take care.